segment, we're saying, will the smart people, will the strong people get farther ahead? And I always think it's the people that are more adaptable. And I think I've always had that skill that I'm not really that quick, but when I put my hand on the stove and it gets burnt, I learn. I don't do it again or try not to.
So what was your pitch to that guy? You sat down and said, hey, hire me. Why? Why did he hire you?
So I'm sitting there, and I actually was in the film business. You don't know this story.
Actually, I do.
Oh,
you told that 100 times, too.
And I produced the Winter Olympics for Canada when I was like 19 or something. It was a big deal. And my head was this big, but I couldn't get a job. So my roommate, Steve, who has a master's in computer science and a doctorate in math, went for this interview with a computer company. And he didn't get the job. And so I'm complaining how I can't get a job in film. He's complaining. And he tells me the starting salary is $30,000. This is way back.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? So I call the guy up. I go in for an interview. I'm sitting there. And this was the former head of IBM Canada. And he's starting this little tech company. And he's looking for employee number 1. And he realizes really quickly, he says, do you have any sales experience? I said, no. He says, do you have any computer experience? I said, no. And I can tell he's kind of getting up slowly to leave. And I said, but you have to hire me. And he looks at me and he says, but you have to hire me. I said, I'll do anything. You need people to answer the phones. You need people to unpack boxes. I'll do it all. And so he's halfway up. He's like, no, you have no experience. And I say, I'll tell you what. I said, I'll work for free. And he stops and he says, kid, if I hire you for free, I can't depend on you. And today I have a lot of confidence. Back then I didn't. And somehow I mustered up this confidence and I said, his name was Denis Raymond. I said, Denis, you can depend on me.
Wow.
And I put out my hand.
Wow.
And he put out his hand. And just before we shook hands, I said, one condition. 6 months from now, if I can do the job, you'll pay me what you would have paid me if I had the experience.
Wow,
that's how I got my first job. So the downside of that story is great story. So I leave and I'm like, woo, I got the job. I'm like, holy crap, how am I going to pay for my rent? So I left that job interview, drove to the fanciest restaurant I knew in downtown Toronto, got them to hire me as a waiter. And so I waited after work until 2 in the morning to make enough money to pay for my rent.
How smart were you?
Yeah.
And you stayed at that business many years, I think. You didn't leave after 6 months.
I stayed there for many years. I ended up running the entire business.
No surprise.
And, it was great. It was a great learning experience. That's what I always tell kids. When you're in your 20s, never take a job for the money. Always take the job for experience.
You only get one or the other.